Today we're stepping behind the scenes at one of the most famous racetracks in the world, Daytona International Speedway. We'll be heading out onto the legendary track, exploring some incredible behind-the-scenes spots, and showing you why this tour is a must-do experience whether you love racing or just enjoy a good Florida adventure. Daytona International Speedway is in Daytona Beach on Florida's East Coast, just a short drive from the beach and about an hour from Orlando. The first thing that you'll notice as you arrive is just how massive this place is. The front stretch grandstand alone is nearly a mile long, and designers actually had to compensate for the curvature of the earth when they built it. The entire complex covers around 500 acres, which is large enough to fit 15 other Florida sports stadiums inside of the Speedway's infield. When you visit, you'll head to the Ticket and Tours building right out front, which is where the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is located, and where you'll check in for your tour. On our visit, the tour started out along the Rim Road, where we got a great look at turns 3 and 4 from above. From here, we got our first look at the 31-degree banking and could really appreciate just how steep it is. From the Rim Road, our tour tram drove through an access point and out into the racing surface itself.
In fact, it is your lucky day. In fact, there's only about 60 days out of the year we might get on track.
We rolled through the chicane on the backstretch, which is one of the newer additions to the track layout.
I'm going to drive over these turtles just a little bit. You'll get an idea, kinda, if you can imagine sports car racing out here, using the road course. If they're driving the chicane and they kind of lose their thought of where they're at.
Daytona is a 2.5-mile loop, and the turns are banked at up to 31 degrees, which helps the cars keep their grip when they are running side by side at high speeds. As we rode around turns 3 and 4, the top of the outside wall down to the grass is about 44 feet, or the height of a 4-story building. The height of it really doesn't come across on camera, but when you're actually on it, it feels like you're riding right next to a huge wall. The Daytona 500 is of course 500 miles long, so drivers turn about 200 laps to complete the race. During those laps, race cars will take this very same turn at over 195 miles per hour, often running 3 wide. As we came off the banking, we passed by the front stretch seating area. The grandstand here is nearly 1 mile long and towers about 15 stories high at the top row. It seats about 101,500 fans and cost about $400 million to renovate back in 2016. One fun detail is that all of the seats are different colors, so even when people are not in their seats, it still looks like a full, colorful crowd on camera during races. Next, we rolled by the pit road and got a close-up view of the individual pit boxes where the team work during the race. This leads right into one of the highlights of the tour, a stop at the start-finish line. You only get a chance to walk out onto the track here about 60 days out of the year. The rest of the time, there is usually some kind of on-track activity that keeps the tours off the racing surface. The start-finish line sits at an 18-degree banking, with an official flag stand perched at about 22 feet above the line.
Fun. We didn't get to do that last time because there was cars out on the road, but I'm glad we got an opportunity to do that this time.
During our last visit, there were cars out on the track, so this was our first time to actually get to stand out on the start and finish line ourselves. Both experiences were great because even if you don't get a chance to get out on the track, you still get to see cars racing around the speedway, which is still really cool. From there, the tram took us to Victory Lane, where the champions celebrate major races. We were able to stand where the winning driver's car would be parked, which makes for some fun photos.
Very cool.
Yeah, Victory Lane.
Victory Lane.
On the way back, we pass by the NASCAR Cup Series garages where the race teams work on their cars, and then the inspection garage, which drivers refer to as the Room of Doom. This is where the cars are carefully inspected to make sure they meet all of NASCAR's rules. On most visits, the tour also stops inside the Fanzone in the Infield, but they were cleaning during our visit, so we didn't get off there this time. On our last visit in 2021, we did get to go inside and see one of the cars in the garages.
So these are real retired race cars. They're 660 horsepower Xfinity Series race cars, and they will get up and go.
Each tour is a little different depending on the track activity and what's happening that day, so if you come back on another tour, you might get to see a slightly different side of the Speedway. After that, we drove through the Infield area, which stays busy even when there's no race going on. Throughout the year, the venue hosts concerts, car shows, and other events in addition to the races. During the big race events, much of this space turns into an RV lot filled with fans camping for the race weekend. To wrap up the tram portion of the tour, we drove under the Turn 1 tunnel and headed back outside the track. Along the front of the grandstands, there are 5 injectors, or main entrance gates, each one sponsored by a different company. Our tour stopped at the Toyota gate, where we got out and rode the escalators up to the grandstands. From here, we had a great view looking back over the entire front stretch, the infield, and the banking we were just riding on. Another fun fact is that unlike other sports stadiums, the seats actually get more expensive the higher up they are in the stands, since they have the best views of the track. After that, the final stop on the tour was back at the Ticket and Tours building, where we'd head straight into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. Once we stepped inside, the first thing that we saw was the winning car from the most recent Daytona 500. During our visit, it was the number 24 car driven by William Byron, who won the race 2 years in a row and now has a chance to become the first driver to win it 3 times in a row coming this February. The car is displayed exactly as it came off the track after the race, with confetti still stuck on it and even champagne residue on top, just as it was on Victory Lane. From there, the museum opens up into a big gallery packed with historic machines and memorabilia from all corners of motorsports. You can see stock cars, Indy cars, dragsters, motorboats, motorcycles, and even aviation exhibits all under one roof. Some of the standouts for us were the fabulous Hudson Hornet.
Hudson Hornet?
The one car I recognize.
And you probably think they did it based off of the cartoon, right? And not the other way around.
No.
There's also a Dale Earnhardt stock car and the 1935 Bluebird Land Speed record car and a number of past Daytona 500 winners. It's not just about the cars either. The Hall of Fame highlights legendary drivers, builders, and innovators across different disciplines with plaques, photos, and artifacts that tell their stories. You get a mix of big NASCAR names along with icons from open-wheel racing, drag racing, sports cars, motorcycles, land speed records, motorboating, and aviation. One area that we really enjoyed focused on the heritage of Daytona itself and the days when racing were held right on the beach. Displays here talk about how cars used to run on the hard-packed sand and how more than 80 official recognized speed records were all set along the stretch of coastline long before the modern speedway was built. If you want to get a feel for what it's like to drive here, there's also a racing simulator inside the museum. For an extra $15, you can hop in and virtually run laps on the high banks of Daytona. There's also one race car you're actually allowed to sit in for a photo op. Plus, there's a wall display that demonstrates the 31-degree banking of the turns, so you can stand right next to it and really see how steep that angle is up close. Before you leave, make sure to spend a few minutes just outside the museum as well. There's a Dale Earnhardt statue that makes for a great photo spot and a nice tribute to one of the biggest names in NASCAR history. Nearby, you'll also find the Daytona Champions Walk of Fame, where you can see handprints, signatures, and plaques honoring past winners and legends connected to this track. Tours usually run daily, starting in the morning and going into the afternoon, and most of them last around an hour. The most popular option is the Speedway Tour, which is the one that we chose to do. There is also a longer VIP tour that runs about 2.5 hours and features extra stops at the NASCAR Archives and Research Center and the press box. There are also days when tours are unavailable altogether or when they're running a modified route because of on-track activity. On those modified days, you might not be able to access the start and finish line or the pit road. So if walking out onto the track is a must-do for you, make sure to check the Daytona International Speedway website before you go to confirm both that the tours are running and that it's not a modified tour day. Admission to the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is included with the Speedway Tour tickets. So after your tram ride around the track, you'll spend extra time inside the museum at your own pace. If you're local and you've done the track tour before, you can also buy a museum-only ticket and just enjoy the Hall of Fame. Parking is free in the main lot outside the tour building, and the experience is very family-friendly, and you don't need to be a hardcore NASCAR fan to enjoy this. The guides do a really great job mixing racing history and fun behind-the-scenes details that make the place feel impressive even if you've never watched a full race in your life. Even though we're not hardcore racing fans and definitely not the target audience for most NASCAR events, we really enjoyed this experience. Daytona is just such an impressive venue, and you cannot fully understand the scale of it until you see it in person. It really is a fun feeling to step onto world-famous places like the start-finish line of the Daytona 500. This tour is obviously an absolute must for race fans, but non-race fans shouldn't dismiss it either. You'll still leave impressed. If you happen to be visiting during the holiday season, we also recommend sticking around for the Magic of Lights display. This is a unique drive-through holiday event with more than 1.5 miles of light displays. You pay one price per vehicle and enjoy the sights from the comfort of your car. There are more than 2 million lights, and the event runs through January 3rd. We went back in 2021 and had a blast, so this is definitely worth doing if you're in the area. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to discover more fun things to do in Florida and beyond. And also a huge shout out to our channel members for supporting our channel. You help make videos like this possible. If you would like to support what we do here and get exclusive emotes, early access to our videos, and more, click the link in the video description for more details. If you're looking for even more fun things to do in the Daytona area, then I highly recommend checking out Ponce Inlet Lighthouse in the video that just popped up on the screen. The lighthouse is the tallest in Florida and definitely worth a visit. I'll see you there.